Hi, Lisa.
So let's just jump in.
Okay.
Tell me about Amy. Tell me about all the things that you do besides real estate.
Okay. The things I do besides real estate. I'm very social. I just love to bop around, and I like to go down to the park, take my dog. We get on the side by side. I do that in the evenings. It's just me and my little pup at home. I bought a lake house after a separation down by Big Daddy's.
Mm-hmm.
So I did some remodeling.
Very familiar.
Yes, yes, you are. You are my lender, by the way. You waited on me for a little while. I rented that until I got through with some stuff I needed to take care of, personal business. Mm-hmm. And then I bought it from a very, very nice couple, and you helped me through my actual first mortgage ever by myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like,
I didn't know that.
Holy smokes. Yeah. Yeah. So I was scared to death, but still, that's me. And a lot of times we have a lot of groups. We have a group in Chicken Creek. A lot of us ride side by sides. We have a group that's in Cookson, and we have a group down by Big Daddy's. We all gather. Sometimes we watch football. Mm-hmm. A lot of times Sunday we cook out. We'll gather at my house. We're all within blocks of each other. It's fun. We're all very social. Yeah. If there's a football game going on, we all love sports. If there's basketball, we're all doing the Final Four right now. One of us is always cooking is the point. And there's a lot of good cooks in all of us.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of our thing. You can see the sunset from my back deck, so everybody likes to kind of come over and watch that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's not a big view. It's just a little tiny one. And then you can kind of see the backside of the spillway, So I kind of got a little bit of both worlds on that one.
So what brought you into real estate?
Funny story. Never thought of it in my life, but Nancy and Bill had a boat dock job, and Michael was building their boat dock, and Nancy stopped me out here. Well, she was talking to Michael. Mm-hmm. They loved him. And he's passed, but they think the world of him. But she stopped me and said, what are you doing now? And I was like, I think I had 3 jobs. I think you and I have talked about that before. Mm-hmm. I think I did the golf shop at 6 in the morning. I went to Stampede's at 4. And then I worked across the street at Malone's running that one. So I was everywhere. And she said, how about I can get you for a couple days a week and see if you like real estate, answer the phones for me. And I'm just a worker bee. Mm-hmm. So I was like, sure, I'll try it. And she was like, can you start like Monday? And I was like, yeah. I'll do it. So I did that for about a year. I think that was the same year that we had Stampedes. I think it burned down. So I started kind of getting a little more into, hey, I want to do something, maybe I do want to sell real estate. And then I started kind of going with her, knew nothing about houses. She was a good teacher. She taught me about laminate floors, crown molding, things I didn't know terms.
Right.
Fascia, soffit. I mean, when you're young, you don't know stuff like that. I was like 34 years old, 35. So she was a good teacher. We've been together now. She told me earlier today, 18 years, about 2 years reception, and almost 16 years I'll be in real estate by June.
Wow.
Yeah, that seems a little surreal for me.
Yeah. Because in some ways it probably seems like it just started, and sometimes
I
maybe
have to go
30
back.
years.
I've been looking at my business cards, and my business cards say 13 years, and I'm like, I got to fix that. But I'm still like, I like that business card because it looks lakey. Yeah, but that's it. I just, and my favorite little slogan for me is, I'm from here, A lot of, and it's not a bad thing if you're not from here to sell real estate. But it's a key for me because, like I said, I can
every little nook and cranny.
Yeah, back roads. I mean, when we were kids, we rode horses down all these dirt roads and back roads. So if somebody can give me a reference point, like I'm looking at a sign, most of the time I can kind of give them an idea where they're at.
If I'm ever lost, I'm calling you.
Yeah, you probably should, especially if you're in this neck of the woods for sure. Even Stovall and Marble City, people are amazed that I can say, "Oh, where are you?" They're like, I'm at the top. And I'm like, oh, you're Jackson Mountain. Take a left or take a right and you'll end up in Vian. You'll be good. So that does help me a lot.
Okay, tell me about your favorite thing in the job. You've been in the job for a long time. What is your favorite part?
I love young homebuyers. Love it, love it, love it. So right now I've got a couple. There's 3 little girls. Gosh, I've watched her grow up. She calls me Mama Amy. I have their house listed in Spiro. And it's just, we're trying to find them something closer here, something closer to, Grandma, get the girls closer here and get them out of the city limits kind of thing. just get them a little land where the girls can run. So I think that's kind of a thing for me. A young couple, I sold a house in Bakoshi. I don't care to travel. So if they want a lot of things that the younger couples are looking for now, which is kind of different for me. And that's when I say younger, I'm 51, which doesn't bother me at all. I love it.
So under 40.
Yeah, well, I don't, age doesn't bother me at all. So I'm talking like 25 to 30s. They're all looking for, getting out of town now, which I think is really cool. They're wanting a couple of acres, fenced, and they're all looking for safety and the kids to be safe and get outside and play. I love that. So that's a big thing for me. I like the retirement thing too. People that have told me I've worked my whole life for this. I've got 2 years left, but if I can get this house, finish those 2 years out, and if I can get it and afford both, we can come and check on it, and then we want our forever to be there, and that's where they want to stay, and end. And I think that's pretty cool too.
So you like it at the beginning and the end.
I like
the
all
best.
I think all of
And
it,
everything
both.
in the middle.
Yeah, I think it's all. I think I could go on all day probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little chatty, so I could probably talk to you about it all day. I get so tickled because people will say, "Hey, you sold us our house," and I'm like, "You must have been really easy." And they're like, "Why?" And I'm like, because some are just like, "Oh, just do it for me, do everything for me," and I'm like, "Okay." But then, and I'll remind me, and they'll say the house with the red door, and I'm like, I got you. Yeah. But I think 1 year, for here, I think I've closed 48. I remember putting a whiteboard on that wall. I came in with it, and it was like the size of that wall. And Nancy goes, "We've got to do this. Like you're getting overwhelmed." And I was like, "Yeah, I've just got to do this like a closing company does it."
Yeah.
But I was like trying to, like things were having a lot of. The closing companies were trying so hard, but we were having so many delays, but people were holding on for months, but we got it done, but that's a lot in a year.
Yeah.
And for this small area, it's a lot.
Yeah.
We've had that, and then we've had less than that in a year. You just stay with it.
Yeah. The markets are cyclical, so they're always going to.
My big thing is answering the phone. Always answer your phone as much as you can.
Yep.
Return your calls. You can't return all of them, but as much as you can.
Yep. I 100% agree.
Yeah. And you're like me, Saturdays and Sundays, I'm in. I mean, yeah, sure. I try to set it. I got a strategy. So I can have half a day. I try to set stuff from early morning, 9 to 11, things like that. So I can enjoy my afternoon if it's a pretty sunny day. Like my Sunday to Sunday is I've got a huge house for 2 o'clock, and I'm like, I can't miss it. Got to be there. And if it sells, it'll be good. If it doesn't, I still have to be there. It has a lot of moving parts, and as a listing agent, you want your seller to know that you got to go have all those doors open. When you got a 6-car garage and it's detached in an office, and there's just things you got to go do.
Right.
Yeah. It's obligation and it's your job. So.
All right. Next question. What's your specialty, if you have one?
I do. I'll tell you what I like.
Okay.
I like FHA loans. I like RDs. I like VAs. Obviously, my son's a veteran. I love this. He bought his house in Texas, even for instance. He was down to the wire and thinking about closing costs, and he was having a spell how to come up with it. And I went, wait a minute. You've got, you can ask the seller for this 3%. What's going on? And so that's my thing, and that works for him. He called me back and he said, Mom, that $10,000 just got fixed. His appraisal came in enough to cover that money. So I went, hey, you're okay. Turn around and ask for that $10,000 and concessions. And he was like, can I do that? And I was like, yeah. So I think that's my thing, is helping those that don't always have that money for that down payment. Because there's a lot of younger generation now that are buying. And those programs help that. Yeah. And like I said before, I love selling to those younger ones that have those young kids, and that, hey, I don't want to rent. Yeah. That money that I'm renting can be buying me something.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, last question. What geographical area do you think, would you say is where you dominate?
Honestly, I can tell you, and it's funny because Cherokee County always seems to gravitate. A little bit toward like the dam and toward Gore, but it always seems like all the calls I get, it seems Chicken Creek, Cookson, Standing Rock. It always seems like Snake Creek. The Snake
So
Creek Wilderness.
Tenkiller.
Yes, it's just always been like the east side of the lake, the south side. Paradise Hill, a little on that area, but I always seem to gravitate to, and it's a lot of word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
When you sell, for instance, to Chicken Creek, there's a lot of Arkansas people in there. Hey, I've got a friend, and they'll call you. My friend, you just sold them a house, they'll give you out. Give your number out. Even my business card says the best thing that you can do for me is just give me a good referral.
Right.
And
you go everywhere. Where's the furthest place that you've sold?
Oh my gosh, I've sold in Eufaula. I've sold Broken Arrow, Porter.
Mm-hmm.
Porter's a long drive. Proctor, Quentin. I just closed a house in Quentin. Close to Dora. Bacoshi was away ways. That was
Mm-hmm.
10 acres and a young family. That was cool. Yeah, so I like also getting to meet new realtors in those areas.
Yeah.
That's fun for me.
And you like the driving. That's
I
one
do.
of the reasons you're a
I think
realtor.
so. I think I just kind of take in the areas and,
Mm-hmm.
go, oh, I didn't know this existed.
Yeah.
I've been showing houses in the last month to a couple that wants to relocate in like Spiro, Picola, Poto area. And I had a house down in Rock Island for a little while as a younger person. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of, I go anywhere.
Yeah.
I actually told someone the other day that I would go to Beaver, and they were like, seriously? And I'm like, yeah, I'm down with that. Yeah, and I've co-brokered even with agents in Fort Smith. And I had an agent call me out of Florida that wanted me to co-broker with her own house up at Snake Creek.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. And she said she looked me up, which I thought was really neat because I always, Nancy actually taught me to go, how'd you find me?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. When I have somebody from Virginia or Colorado or California call, and I like to know kind of where that came from.
And most of your referrals come from previous clients?
Some of them, and a lot of them said they have read like my Zillow profile,
Okay.
which I think is really cool. I used to send that out more, and I need to be more attentive at doing that, but some of them I've sent out, and a lot of them have just wrote their own little review. A lot of new home buyers have wrote it, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that wraps it up.
Okay, well, I appreciate you coming by today.
Thank you so much for...
Yes. Thanks for doing my mortgage on my house.
You're welcome.